So now we are moving to chapter 7, which starts at the cafe, where the reader is sitting and reading the Silas Flannery novel that Mr. Cavendagna has given him. He was waiting for Ludmila, and he was considering two things in his mind. The interior one was his reading, and the other is Ludmila, who was late. So, and he is waiting Ludmila, like he is imagining like she is coming out of the book, and this was interesting moment. And someone called him, and the waiter said him to come to the telephone, and Ludmila. It was Ludmila, as he was supposing, and she said that she can't come. But he was like, oh my God, I want to give you the book I was reading. And she's like, no, please, if you want to share, I'm not at home, but you can go to my home. The keys are under the mat. And he was like a little bit surprised. And he went to her home immediately, take those keys and entered. So the very first question that he was interested is she's a girl and she lives alone, and is there a possible presence of a man? And she is like, he was considering this, and he wanted to make a detective investigation, but he didn't want to break her trust.
Yes, very accurate. I remember all the details. And also in 7th chapter, we can see how fictional this book is, because when Ludmila calls him in the cafe, it was so random. Like in this book, everything is presented just like no one exists apart from the main characters. And even when in the cafe someone is calling, it's calling to him and it's calling Ludmila. And it's very interesting how it's correlated to the previous story about ring and phone. And now we are again, like the main focus is on the phone, and in the other side of the phone is Ludmila, right?
Yeah, you're right. Cool. Also, he says like, what are you like, other reader, when he comes to her home? And this moment was really captivating, because he is like discovering her. He is like, this is time for discovering. He was discovering the novels, and this time he is discovering Ludmila.
Wait. I think at this point the book is talking to us. Yes. What are you like as a reader? It's time for this book in the second person to address itself no longer to a general male you, perhaps brother and double of a hypocrite I, but directly to you, who appeared already in the second chapter as a third person. So it's like, now we are Ludmila. We are Ludmila. Yes, that's why this chapter is like turning point. And it's no wonder, because it's like the half of the book, and now Ludmila is actually we.
Interesting point, yeah. So he starts to portray her then according to her house. And that was actually, we can see he's analyzing nature. I guess this could be because of his desperate interest in her, or maybe he is just by himself that much, Delusional, yes. I think a lot of times, like, he is imagining. Then he comes to her kitchen. No, before that, he tells us that the reader, the Ludmila, appeared in bookshop, and he describes her as a reader who reads in her house, and so the position of the books occupy in her life. Like, he is making a lot of assumptions, and then he goes to the kitchen, the very first place he would start to observe. so he discovers that she's cooking, but not a lot of times. He's taking into account a lot of details in the kitchen, like herbs, refrigerator, the number of eggs. Yes.
Yes, and it's not like now we are Ludmila, right? So it's like at this part, I felt like my house has been objected to the investigation because he's like circling around my house and watching it, and every time, even in the book, the author writes "you," and it's this "you" now is actually referring to us. Yes, you're right. In the kitchen, there are so many things, a lot of details, but he notices that she doesn't stay at home too much. She's very extroverted. He made this conclusion because there were eggs which were missing, some garlic. Garlic is very important because it means that she has a good relationship with healthy food because she uses garlic. And there was a lemon. Do you remember one part of the lemon is...
Yes, that
Yes.
was...
Yeah.
Dried.
One part of lemon is dried and one part is just... It was just half a lemon and it's already dried. So he made the assumption that she probably doesn't stay at home too much. And then he looked at the books that we have and he said that probably this person, you, have different books for different situations. At some point, and in some parts of the house there are books that you would like to come back and read. At some parts there are books that you read, and like there's so many books. And he also made the conclusion that it's a person who doesn't reread, and we can go back to all the stories before, and in every time we read a new story, like we never reread anything, right? So it's actually referring to us.
Yes, you're right. That's interesting. And also he mentioned her relationships with objects, where she is really selective. Like if the object is feeling to be hers, she makes it hers. Like that was really relatable for me because I have a lot of objects, but not of all of them I am touching. Like I am using only the ones that feel like mine. Also, he is like trying to make a portrait, exact portrait, like asking her, asking in his mind, is she tidy or untidy? Is she depressive or euphoric? Or is she hospitable or does she want to look like? And that and there is no exact answer because she is really flexible.
Yes.
Her character is so deep, I guess. He also discovered the plants that doesn't require much of attention because she's not powering them. Also, he says that he makes assumption that she is not the person who would like to take much more responsibilities that she has, and maybe this could be either egoism, either concentration on other more important things. That was the very interesting point because his observation and his suggestions were really broad at the same time narrow. Like,
Yes, I agree completely. And also I like that you mentioned all the details about her because at this chapter finally we get to who Ludmila is, yes? Who we are, actually. And yes, and then he comes to the books part and I noticed that he was looking at everything as a stranger because it's not his house. And he's observing it with accuracy. He's afraid to come and touch. He just sees it and he explains what he sees. He describes everything, but he doesn't see it. But interestingly, the next thing happens really shocked me.
Yeah, you're right. Somebody comes and he understands that this is not Ludmila. This is a man.
Yeah.
This is Irnerio, who comes and starts searching for the books. Yes?
Yeah. Yes, and Irnerio, I forgot who he is in the beginning. I thought, is this a character from the stories? But no, he was a man from that library. and it's her friend, and he came to the house as if he is used to all the time, and it was so interesting that like our character, he's observing everything with accuracy and with danger of touching, and he doesn't want to invade to her privacy. At the same time, in area just comes and goes around just like he's living there.
You're right. Also,